Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for the final round of the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Now, the championship has been sealed by the man who's lining up again in dominant force on pole position, the number 1 car of David Slay. But it's a Team Slay Racing 1, 2, 3 with the returning Tim Slay back again in the number 3 machine after his huge accident we saw earlier in the year. Malcolm McNabb fighting for 3rd overall in the championship, and the newcomers still up for grabs. Plenty still to play for. Richard, run us through the starting order for the first race.
Thanks, Joe. Taking his 3rd pole position of the 2012 season is the 2012 champion, David Slay. He's tied with his brother now in terms of 3 poles this year. And Team Slay Racing looking to secure 1, 2 and 3 in the overall championship. And it's an all-Team Slay front row. Malcolm McNabb completes the shutout in 3rd. Ross Wiley 4th with Lewis Grant an excellent 5th. Then Steve Brewster. Shane Stoney 7th from Alan Walk. Then Guy Johnston and John Finlayson row 5. Row 6, Scott McKenzie and Elaine Marshall, the ladies' pole sitter. Then Mikey Faulkner, Josh Baird, Steph McMurdo, Emma Bruce is 16th. And the back row of the grid, Fiona Wallace, the outgoing ladies' champion, and Will Smith. Now, in terms of the ladies' championship, all Elaine Marshall needs to do today is finish race number 1 to claim the championship. She's 72 points ahead with 75 on the table. Tim Slay looks like he is slightly further ahead on the grid. Maybe the camera angle flattering to deceive, but away they go. Malcolm McNabb's 3rd place off Ross Wiley as they come off the line. Great start by Lewis Grant. Good start too by Shane Stoney. And here they come down into Duffus for the first time. Car number 35 is Josh Baird, just getting ahead of Scott McKenzie. And they're all safe and sound down into Scotsman. The leader's already through Scotsman, on their way up towards the chicane for the first time. 31, John Finlayson on the outside line. Looks like a pretty good start from all of them. There's Elaine Marshall, hoping to secure the ladies' championship here. It's the Fiona Wallace 2nd at the moment in the ladies. As we said, 72 points down, 75 points on offer. Cars all over the place as they come through Carloop for the first time. And that's Guy Johnston in the black and fluorescent yellow car. But it's David Slay who leads down into the hairpin for the first time. His brother Tim in 2nd place, and their teammate Malcolm McNabb in 3rd. 1, 2, 3. Team Slay Racing shutout. They've been so impressive this year. Pass there on Scott McKenzie, so up across the line to complete lap 1. David Slay leading, Tim in 2nd, then McNabb, followed by Ross Wiley, Steve Brewster. Great start as ever by the Minis, and we've seen some super racing from them this year. Long may that continue. David Slay out front. We're looking at Malcolm McNabb coming under pressure from Ross Wiley. Now today we've talked about the ladies' points newcomer championship wise. The newcomers championship between Malcolm McNabb and Ross Wiley, so that's the 2 cars together. The blue and white car chasing the 4 machine, they're after the newcomers, and at the moment Malcolm McNabb with a good healthy points lead in the newcomers. It's slightly closer in the overall championship chase for 3rd position. Malcolm in 3rd on 300 points. Steve Brewster, he's the yellow car, joint 4th with Kyle Reid, who's not here today, and Ross Wiley 6th in the championship on 258 points. A wide moment there from Malcolm McNabb, and Steve Brewster pops up the inside, the yellow car of Steve Brewster. This could be crucial for Brewster in terms of championship. 23 points behind Malcolm McNabb here, so realistically saying that Malcolm's got to have a really bad day to lose 3rd in the championship. But Steve Brewster, all the time there's a chance he's going to get it, and he moves up into 4th place. Good manoeuvre by Brewster. And now Lewis Grant, qualified so well today. And this youngster, the Apex tubular car, the black car with the dark red mirrors on the side of the car, really running well, marking himself out as a man to watch for 2013. And let's hope that he comes back and races. Challenge on now. Ross Wiley challenging Tim Slay for 2nd place. Wiley doesn't care that he's got Steve Brewster behind him, and he's using all sorts of lines, tucks himself up on the outside of Carloop, or the exit of Carloop as they come along his lots, and that's the inside as they come down towards the hairpin. And Ross Wiley surely is going to take 2nd place. Steve Brewster's coming through as well. Steve goes to the outside line, and Tim Slay getting hung out to dry. His teammate Malcolm McNabb goes up the inside. Tim Slay, of course, safe in 2nd position in the championship. Might have been a little bit of team racing there to encourage Malcolm to go through. Now, whilst the team are helping Malcolm, he's driven so well the last few rounds. He's had 2 wins this year. He's picked up loads of podia, and also one thing you can't get through team orders is fastest laps. He's been bagging those too. There he is in the number 4 car, and this is the view looking at the 4 car from the 3 car of Tim Slay. So good to see Tim Slay back on circuit at the penultimate round after that rather worrying looking rollover we had at the anti-penultimate round of the year. And actually it was before the touring car meeting, wasn't it, early in middle of August. And Tim at the moment, there is David Slay slowing because we've got the safety car out. Steph McMurdo having gone off. Poor old Steph. Well, hard lines to her. Let's hope she comes back next year and has another go at the Ladies' Cup. Elaine Marshall, I think, still in contention, still running. Yes, she is. Just try and point Elaine out for you. Keep your eyes open for the yellow and white car. Elaine Marshall is looking to tie up the Ladies' Championship. Former Ladies' Champion Carol Brown, incidentally, racing here today at Knockhill. And in with a real chance of the Legends Championship. So you'll be able to catch that one on Motors TV as well. So the lady races, of course, very good in the overall standings, as well as being providing some great racing in their own class. This is the view from David Slay. Things calmed down a little bit. As we said, David, last year's champion, wrapped things up very early this year. Lights out on the safety car, so we're about to go racing. David Slay pacing them. Ross Wiley in second place. He's a driver that's looking to move on to the Toka package, he told me earlier on in the season. Steve Brewster in third. Malcolm McNabb fourth, with his wingman Tim Slay behind him, hopefully defending any more places. Off goes the safety car. The yellow flag will go green when the cars reach the line. Keep your eyes on the pit wall for confirmation of that. There we go, we're racing again. And David Slay leading from Wiley. Steve Brewster in third. Malcolm McNabb in fourth. There's Elaine Marshall going through shot now, on her way to the Ladies' Championship. That's the significance there. Fiona Wallace coming up through the field too. Emma Bruce still in the mix in 25. 4 lady racers contesting this meeting. Louise Flitton having competed in the championship as well this year, but Malcolm McNabb in the Athena car looking pretty good at the moment. As I say, he's got Tim Slay behind him, and then Lewis Grant. I don't think they'll be too concerned about Lewis Grant in terms of championship points for third, but at the moment Malcolm McNabb's got the 2 main championship rivals for third in front of him. Steve Brewster in yellow, and Ross Wiley, who's going for the lead now. That's Josh Baird that's off. Ross Wiley going for the lead, looking at the outside line as they went down to the hairpin. Hard lines Josh White, he's through. Ross Wiley, you can see the blue and white car in the distance, has got through in front of David Slay, so we've got a new leader. Ross Wiley hasn't had a win yet in the minute, and Brewster's coming through as well. Steve Brewster is into second place. Malcolm McNabb, surely David Slay's going to let Malcolm follow through. That's got to benefit the team. Now, whether that's team racing or not, I don't know. I suspect that David Slay, having let the other 2 through, well, not let them through, having gone wide, and they've gone past, so Malcolm McNabb in third place. So at the moment it's Ross Wiley, Steve Brewster, Malcolm McNabb. Championship points wise, it's going to be 25 for Ross Wiley. That's going to take him on to 308 points. Steve Brewster in second, of course, wants the win. He's going to go on to 317 points. And if Malcolm McNabb stays third, he'll be on 332, just 15 points. And there are 2 more races to go, 50 points available after this. So the championship very much coming alive here, or third place, for Ross Wiley and Steve Brewster. There is Malcolm McNabb in car number 4 in third place, followed by his 2 teammates. David Slay, the new champion, being followed by his brother Tim, up across the line. Look how close this is. This is one of the closest races of the season. Lewis Grant involved. Side by side with Shane Stoney, the white 89 car. That's the machine that we saw Cole Bradley put together in less than a week before the Croft Touring car meeting. Alan Walk's down behind them as well. Alan Walk in the 14 car. So Malcolm McNabb then at the moment still consolidating that third place in the championship. And the front runners starting to get away. Shane Stoney getting the better of that little gaggle of cars there as we look at the Slay boys coming along Railway Straight. Ross Wiley getting away with this one. Ross Wiley on course for his first win, but now Malcolm McNabb challenging for second position. Looks to the outside line as they go to the hairpin. It's a wide line for him. David Slay behind Tim as well. They're trying to egg him on. Not sure if you get the benefit of any drafting here around Knockhill in the minis, but up across the line goes Ross Wiley. Hasn't taken a win before. Steve Brewster in second. You get the impression that Steve's being a little bit defensive at the moment. He wants to hang on to the point.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter Keene.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
This is the view from our sleigh ride. David Sleigh looking back at his brother Tim, still working hard. One thing you've got to say about team sleigh racing is that they certainly don't prepare their own cars better than the customer cars, do they? Malcolm McNabb's done a superb job. And remember, he's a newer driver to racing and the championship than the two brothers. And what a clean sweep it's going to be for them. Into the tri-oval section, down on the brakes. Tim Sleigh, is he going to look down the inside? No, he's just behaving himself at the moment. Shane Stoney in 89 joined the Scottish Championship from the National Mini Cooper Cup halfway through the year, and he's been an absolute revelation. He's been taking podia, very quick young driver. He's going to be back next year, but it's another one of our newcomers, Ross Wiley, who looks like he's on course for a first win. Down into Duffus for the last time, now into Scotsman, Optimum Racing Line. Look at the confident sweep around Scotsman from the 15 car, and Ross Wiley, the former karter, we predicted he'd get a win before the end of the year. And he's going to do that here. It's the last meeting. He left it to the last minute for sure as we go back. And there is Elaine Marshall, who's going to take the Ladies' Championship. She's on to her last lap. It goes off. Oh no, Elaine Marshall's off in the gravel. Now, will she get going? She has got it out of the gravel. That's not the way she would want to tie up the championship, but the Marshall Construction car is back on circuit, and I think she's down in 16th place now. So the ladies' class win here is going to go to Fiona Wallace. She's battling hard with Emma Bruce. But out front, Ross Wiley takes his first win in the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Another first-time winner. Steve Brewster is second. Malcolm McNabb in third. And those guys, third place in the championship, is closing up. We've got a real humdinger of a meeting on now with 2 races and 50 points remaining. So the Newcomers Championship and third overall is still to be decided, but the Ladies' Championship goes to Elaine Marshall. Many congratulations to her. She was racing hard. That's why she went off, going down into Duffus. Fastest lap goes to David Sleigh in that race, his 6th fastest lap of the year. Well, here comes the Ladies' Champion. Elaine Marshall finishes in 16th place, and congratulations to her on winning the Ladies' Cup, taking the title from last year's winner Fiona Wallace, but it's a win for Ross Wiley. Steve Brewster is second and Malcolm McNabb third. Tim Sleigh takes 4th position ahead of David, who got the fastest lap as we mentioned, and Shane Stoney 6th. Then it was Lewis Grant, Alan Walk in 8th, Guy Johnston 9th from Scott McKenzie, Fee Wallace in 11th and Emma Bruce in 12th. The runners completed by 13th place, going to Will Smith, then Mikey Falconer, John Finlayson 15th and Elaine Marshall in 16th. Non-finishers, of course, Josh Baird and Steph McMurdo.
Ross Wiley, the winner of race 1. It's been a long time coming. You've been threatening to do that for ages, but it came just at the right time, right at the end of the year.
Yeah, we have been waiting a long time on that. Been working very hard throughout the year, you know, and thankfully it all came together in race 1 there. You know, I'm really happy. Well, I'm over the moon, in fact, but you know, really happy, and just want to say a huge thank you to everyone at Minimax Motorsport, and especially my mum and dad for all their help and support over the years. Also a huge thank you to Thornhill Inn for sponsoring me this year as well.
Absolutely, and how happy were you to see that safety car?
I was and I wasn't, because I wasn't sure what David had up his sleeve. You know, I wasn't sure if he was going to back me up into the traffic or not. But you know, ultimately it gave me the race win, because it gave me a chance. You know, at the victory. So yeah, it did work in our favour.
And a great opportunity as well when you looked in your mirrors and you saw these two squabbling over third in the championship and all the rest of it. You must have thought to yourself, this couldn't be any better.
Yeah, I mean, I knew. I did think that was what was going to happen. In all fairness, you know, I go out every race to win the race, and that's what happened today. You know, I was just fully committed to getting to the front, so it's all paid off, thankfully.
Well done. Need 3 in a row now.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Well done. Second place in the first Mini Cooper race of the day. That makes sense. This morning, Stephen, you told me you were a man on a mission, and you certainly looked that way out there.
Yeah, I managed to get a good start, tuck in behind Ross, and Ross made everything happen today, to be honest. He drove awesome and opened up all the gaps for me. I didn't have to do much. Once I got through to second, I knew Ross was going to be able to drive his own race and get away, so I just had to defend from Malcolm behind me, and yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Championship, obviously, you can't win overall. David did that a long time ago, but for you, thinking about the championship, Malcolm's the biggest rival, and at the end, it must have got quite tight, a bit tense between the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, we were bumper to bumper for the last couple of laps. I did have to drive like really defensively, but it seemed to work out well.
Well done. It set us up nicely for the last 2 races of the day.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Joe.
Malcolm McNabb, another podium. You won't mind me saying, some major team tactics, which I think are great. It really is impressive to watch the team slay missed gears, if you like. It looked so good at the start. David was away, you were with him, everything was cool, and then it kind of went a bit pear-shaped.
Yeah, well, the team orders, so they weren't going out with anything planned in that race. The only rule was don't take each other out. We're going out, we're all 3 of us just planning on trying to break away and keep it like that. Unfortunately, Tim had a bit of a poor run through Clark's. On the run into the hairpin, I decided not to go for it up the inside, and I'd just done that and I started braking, and I just looked in my mirror and saw Ross dive to the inside and went, that'll be that then. So from then on I slipped back down. Stevie got past me then as well, so I just had to try and do damage limitation and stick with them as they pulled through.
I think points wise for you, the biggest challenger is Stephen, I'd be right in saying.
Yeah, pretty much. I think when coming into this race in the main championship, Stephen was 23 points behind me for third, and in the newcomers Ross was 45 behind for the title.
Obviously you've got Ross teammates to Stephen, you've got your 2 boys Tim and David helping you. It turns into a high-speed game of chess at some points, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's nice, you know. I like that we're not doing anything stupid with it, you know. Yeah, we're going to help each other out, teammates helping teammates as much as
I think it's part of the game. It's great to watch, especially when David starts. You can see him thinking, and then when Tim was behind him, he thought, well, I'll miss a gear here, and all of a sudden that helps him and that helps him. It adds something else to it, I think.
Yeah, it's good. You know, it's not getting stupid, but it's certainly made the last couple of race meetings interesting, and I think it's providing good action for all the fans who are up, and all our sponsors are up today. Athena, JRM Coachworks, and IntoScotland.com have come up. They've got people up watching the racing, so it gives them a good, spectacle. Good stuff. It'll make for 2 more exciting races, no doubt, and well done on the first podium of the day. All right, cheers, Joe. I'm here with the lovely Fiona Wallace, winner of the Ladies' Cup. Race 1, however, Elaine Marshall has wrapped up the championship, but still a good win.
Yeah, it was a good win. Congratulations to Elaine, thoroughly deserved. I've not had much luck this year. Start of the year I had a DNS due to electrical issues, and it's been really hard to catch up because the championship is so competitive, but it's been good fun and I'm happy with second place, so it's good.
We've seen you in the mini championship for a few years now, but you're really starting to get towards the pointy end of it. Every time you come past, I'm counting back, and at the last round in particular, you were right up there. Yeah,
I just seem to be picking away at my times, and next race, hopefully I can get a top 10 finish. That's what I'm aiming for.
Well, Elaine's won the championship, but it's all still to play for. 2 more races to go. Let's see if we can speak to you again later on today.
Yes, top step again, and the Ladies' Cup would be good.
Well done.
Thank you, Joe.
The second Mini Cooper race is in the Holden Bay, lined up behind me, ready to go for their second race, and it's as they were, finishing order. Ross Wiley up on pole position, having had his first win earlier on in the first race. Stephen Brewster and the McNabb battle line up next. They're going to continue to squabble over that, and then it's Team Slay. I want to wander this direction quickly before the cars leave and speak to Elaine Marshall. If I can, sorry to interrupt, Elaine, but congratulations. It's not how you wanted to do it, with a bit of a bump at the end there, but our 2012 Ladies' Cup winner.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't how I wanted to do it, but it's done now. I've had a great season. Fiona's pushed me all season. It's been nice, fair racing between the both of us, so I'm really, really happy.
Pressure's off now, so what's the plan? Make your way to the front, show these guys up there what you can do?
go out and have fun. But I'd like to thank Marshall Construction and Tynecastle Garage for my year's racing. I couldn't have done it without both of them this year.
And we'll see you back next season?
Of course.
Well done, Lane. Great job this year. There we go. We're all set for some good action in race number 2. I'll hand it to Richard and he'll take you through the starting order.
Thanks, Joe. And I know David Kerr will say well done to Elaine as well. David from Tynecastle Garage, who said that the team this year have been a pleasure. Ross Wiley on pole. Steve Brewster next, then Malcolm McNabb and Tim Slay row 2. David Slay on row 3 with Shane Stoney up into the top 6. Then Lewis Grant and Alan Walk, Guy Johnston and Scott McKenzie. They're followed by Fiona Wallace and Emma Bruce. 13th on the grid is Will Smith. Then it's Mikey Falconer and John Fendlison. Elaine Marshall 16th, and the 2 non-finishers from race 1, Josh Baird and Steph McMurdo. So that's how they line up for our penultimate race of the season. And of course, as you heard from Joe, the grid order based on the finishing results from race 1. Qualifying session only has merit for the first race, and you have to hang on to that position throughout the meeting. Of course, our third race of the day is the reverse grid, but let's see whether Ross Wiley can add to his tally of wins. Away they go, Steve Brewster, away very well in yellow and gets the jump on Ross Wiley. Coming up is Tim Slay in red on the outside. Ross Wiley getting defensive from Malcolm McNabb. David Slay in car number 1 looks down the inside. Shane Stoney wants to get in the mix as well in the red, white and blue number 89 car, but they're all down through Scotsman. OK, Steve Brewster gets a tank slapper on through Scotsman, loses momentum, and it's Tim Slay up into second and now through into the lead. Ross Wiley from first to third. He won't be very happy about that, Ross. That was a Vic Covey type start, wasn't it? Going backwards. Sorry, Vic, if you're watching this. Vic Covey Jr. to make the distinction, because Vic Covey Sr. an ex-racer himself as well, and kicking up a little bit of dirt there. So Tim Slay in the race lead. There's Lewis Grant in the black car ahead of Shane Stoney. So Lewis has made a great start and got ahead of Shane. The Apex tubular car into 6th position. Goes very wide round Malcolm McNabb. Very late on the brakes and he's holding on to it. And he's gone round the outside of the reigning champion David Slay. Alan Walk gets all over the place there. And goes wide, keeps it on 2. These cars are sticking to the tarmac like glue at the moment. This is really good stuff. Up across the line. End of lap 1, it's Stephen Brewster who led them away, but it's Tim Slay down the road. Steve Brewster second, Ross Wiley third. Here's the scrap for 4th, and it's David Slay, car number 1, down the inside to take 4th place. And Malcolm McNabb getting left behind at the moment in car 4. So through Scotsman corner, Tim Slay out front, he's not getting away. Steve Brewster after that wide moment will be kicking himself. Ross Wiley looking a little bit wild. Certainly not scrubbing off any speed. He's still round about there. Steve Brewster goes for a wide sweep, but thinks about popping his nose up the inside, and that's what David Slay does to Ross Wiley all over the dirt. Ross Wiley on the grass, and David Slay, well, quite how the officials are going to look at that, I don't know, because Ross Wiley very clearly forced off onto the dirt there. David Slay wanted to take no prisoners. Championship title in the bag or not. Off goes car number 30. Out of the race, Will Smith. Let's hope that he can rejoin. Well, we've got the safety car coming out, unsurprisingly. Things going a little bit mad. Sometimes we used to see that on race 3, the reverse grid race, but it's happening here in race 2. I'll tell you what, I think we've seen this kind of thing before in the last meeting of the season. They call this meeting the final fling. Oh, Elaine Marshall's up in the air. With yellow flags out, that shouldn't have happened. Well, you can see the yellows out there. It's probably a good case. I'm not sure whether the Minis use the receiver system, but that would be a good thing to do. And now red flags. So Elaine Marshall, her championship winning meeting is not going to be one that she'll remember for the right reasons. Well, as you would expect, a little bit of clearing up pretty much complete here, and it's going to be a reduced race distance of 6 laps. Elaine and Steph McMurdo not taking part in the restart. Let's hope that the Tynecastle Garage team may consider getting the car out for race 3. Lights on. Race 2, take 2 in the final round of the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. And Ross Wiley from pole position. Steve Brewster on his outside. Brewster gets away well once again. A slightly depleted field. We've lost 2 cars. And let's see how it pans out. There's Emma Bruce in the white 25. 17 Fiona Wallace now is going to add some points. That just goes to show you, you never know. We said that it was 72 points down between Elaine Marshall and Fiona Wallace, and things can change right the way down at the last race. It's Ross Wiley that's got away this time. Off goes Alan Walk in 14, off towards the tyres. A gentle nudge on the tyres. I'm not sure if he'll get going from there, but Alan's off. More first lap shenanigans in the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Coopers. But Ross Wiley, one driver I think you've got to say is going to be very grateful for a second bite of the cherry. Probably a very fair decision on the part of the officials. He got squeezed off on the grass, lost a shed load of places on lap 1, and he leads from Steve Brewster, Tim Slay third, then Malcolm McNabb, David Slay, Lewis Grant looking at that outside line again. He's found that line very useful today so far, certainly in part 1 of this race. Then Shane Stoney down behind them, another top name from karting, and Shane of course travelling up from Yorkshire to race with us, and he absolutely, him and his dad, love this championship to bits. Ross Wiley will love it too. This has been a great training ground for him. This is the sleigh ride. David Slay looking at Malcolm McNabb up front, and Malcolm on 4 at the moment, having his lead squeezed down to less than 15 points if he stays where he is, with 25 available in the last race of the day, remember. So Tim Slay really needs to let Malcolm through. Tim Slay, the red car out front, and he takes a wide line here. A little bit of an invitation for Malcolm to come through on the inside, and David Slay's going to come through as well. Well, Tim Slay, he doesn't need to do anything here. Him and his brother may well defend from Lewis Grant, but again, as in race number 1, the top point scorers, the main worry for Team Slay Racing and for their driver, the main 2 drivers that are there, are out front, Ross Wiley and Steve Brewster. Now coming into this race, Ross Wiley moved up to 5th in the championship. This is the view back from Tim Slay. There's his brother David. Shane Stoney looking down the inside of Lewis Grant. Those 2 having a very good clean race. Lewis with the upper hand at the moment, the black Apex tubular car. Tight line down into Scotsman corner. Very defensive from Lewis Grant. This is wonderful racing to see between those guys, and they're dicing for 6th place at the moment. Still Ross Wiley out front. David Slay with the fastest lap. That's 63.441. That's actually going to be the fastest lap of the year. So David Slay, well, he's won the championship, and again we talk about team orders and backing off, but Slay's got the fastest racing lap of the year in car number 1. Meanwhile, we get Guy Johnston in 22, Lewis Grant involved in the mix, Shane Stoney clear at the moment. Lewis Grant looks to the outside line, turns in a little bit later. He's going to go for the cut back on the inside. As you can see, much tighter line, and is he going to get more momentum up the straight? Terrific shot there, still side by side. Guy Johnston trying to make the manoeuvre, and he's got the inside line, but Lewis Grant still learning his racecraft, of course. This is a wonderful championship to be able to do that. Grant manages to consolidate 7th place now with Shane Stoney 3 or 4 lengths down the road. David Slay hassling his brother Tim at the moment to try and challenge for 4th, but it's Ross Wiley still leading, looking for his 2nd career win. Steve Brewster 2nd, then Malcolm McNabb. Lewis Grant in 24, off goes Guy Johnston onto the dirt, recovers well, loses a little bit of time. He's got to regroup, get his head down, concentrate on his racing line, see if he can reel in the car in front once again. A bit of a gap back to Fiona Wallace in 9th place, just behind these. Fiona picking up the Ladies' Championship points again. She's not going to finish too far behind Elaine Marshall in the championship, for sure. It was a 25-point haul in the last race, round 22 of the championship for her. So David Slay at the back of this quartet of cars. This is the battle for 2nd place, held at the moment by Steve Brewster. Ross Wiley is again away and down the road. Car number 15, what a terrific first race we saw for him. Remember, Ross qualified in 4th place and came through to take the win. He really did earn it. It wasn't lights to flag. And it looks like he's going to do it again, but Malcolm McNabb struggling with Steve Brewster at the moment. Malcolm will be doing the sums in his head. Is 15 points going to be a decent enough lead to carry into the last race? Ross Wiley's still going to be in with a shout of 3rd in the championship as well. If things stay the way they are, it's going to be 24 points between 3rd and 5th in the championship after an incredible 23 races. Down into the hairpin, David Slay then chasing his brother Tim. Malcolm McNabb in front of him. Now what could help here is if Tim Slay could pass Malcolm and then maybe find a way past Steve Brewster, but Brewster not hugging the inside line, but just moving over towards the right, taking a defensive line as they come down to Duffus and onto the last lap. Lap 6 of this truncated second part of the race. It's going to be Ross Wiley, surely, that's going to take a second win, and that happens, doesn't it? When you get the confidence from the first win, the second one very often follows quickly. That's what happened with Malcolm McNabb, and it's happening to his rival Ross Wiley, 5th in the championship. And Ross is going to close the points down. He's only going to be 9 points behind Steve Brewster now as they go into the last race of the year. Stephen Brewster trying to hang on to second place in the race. Malcolm McNabb racing hard and trying to get ahead of his rival just to extend the points difference. He wants more than 15 points to take into the last race because a non-finish like this would absolutely kill it for him. The 3rd place in the championship looks to the outside line. There is Ross Wiley out of the hairpin for the last time. McNabb's tried everything on Steve Brewster. It's been a real game of cat and mouse between the two, but up to the line. Second career win in the meeting for Ross Wiley. Wiley wins and cuts the lead back to 3rd place in the championship. Steve Brewster is 2nd. Malcolm McNabb still 3rd in the table, takes 3rd in the race from Tim Slade, David Slade, Shane Stoney. They're followed by Lewis Grant, Guy Johnston, Fiona Wallace crosses the line, Scott McKenzie, Emma Bruce. Wow, another cracking race and just one event left, the 24th and final race of the season in the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Win for Ross Wiley. Steve Brewster next from McNabb, Malcolm McNabb, then Tim Slay. David Slay 7th fastest lap of the season. Shane Stoney 6th, then Lewis Grant, Guy Johnston. Fee Wallace wins the ladies ahead of Scott McKenzie, then Emma Bruce, John Finlayson 12th. 13th goes to Josh Baird getting a finish. Mikey Falconer 14th and Will Smith 15th.
And the winner of race number 2 for the Minis, second win of the day, Ross Wiley, making a habit of this now.
Yeah, it's fantastic to come away with another win. You know, I was over the moon after the first win, but you know, it's just something special to come away with another one, that's for sure.
Now, you won't mind me saying this, and I am one to speak, but the first start, which I was watching from just outside the Marshalls building there, was potentially the worst start I've ever seen. It looked like you didn't see the lights.
To be fair, that was exactly what happened. It wasn't so much, you know, it wasn't so much reaction time. It was I don't know, I completely missed the lights. I hold my hands up to that. Got off the line better in the restart.
Yeah, you would have been so happy to see the red flag.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think I got a little bit lucky in that respect. But it was a good race. Really enjoyed it.
Well done. You wouldn't be the first person to do it, but 3 in a row is on the cards.
It is in the cards, yes. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what ball I pull out of the hat. But I'm looking forward to it. There's no pressure at all. I've got it all to gain.
Well done.
Thank you.
The final mini race of the 2012 season is lined up behind me and ready to go. On pole position with the reverse grid is David Slay. He's already wrapped up the championship, and it would be a brave man to bet against him disappearing because he is backed up by his brother. We've seen such great team playing between these guys, but what it does come down to is Malcolm McNabb is still fighting for 3rd place in the championship, and here he is. Malcolm, I was just nicely timed, fighting for 3rd place in the championship. And you couldn't predict it any better because directly behind you is Stephen Brewster, the man who can take that 3rd place in the championship.
Yeah, I think if you do the math, I think Ross is probably within striking range as well.
There we go, to add even more pressure to you.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I think he's 15 points behind on my maths.
I've just said that it would be a brave man would put any money against Tim and David disappearing, but now I've actually thought about it for a second and I'm thinking about what's been going on. I don't think they're going to disappear. There might be a little bit of team playing.
Possibly.
No comment. I'll let you go. I know you're nervous. I'll let you crack on. I'll see if I can find Stephen as well and get his point of view on this. If he's around, there he is. We'll dive in. We'll grab Ross. We'll speak to you and Stephen, both of you if you can. Stephen, you couldn't predict this any better. Ross as well. You've been a man on form this weekend with 2 wins so far. You technically still can finish third. You're a lot more likely, and you're within striking distance of Malcolm.
Yeah, I am, but I mean, it's about a 12, 13 point difference. I'm not entirely sure, so it'll be what it is, and just got to try and go as fast as I can, and that's as much as I can do, eh?
Ross, for you, outside shot at third in the championship, but going by your pace today, why not?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not even thinking about the championship. I'm purely going out there, I'm just focusing on this race and trying to get the best result that I can, and the championship will sort itself out, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's going to be fireworks. Good luck, guys. I'll hand it to Richard. He'll take you through the starting order.
Thanks, Joe. How often do we see David Slay taking a pole position in a reverse grid? Not very often, that's for sure. In some ways, a fitting way to start the last race of the 2012 season. Tim Slay's brother alongside, Malcolm McNabb third, so they're shutting out the top 3 places again. Steve Brewster fourth, Ross Wiley in 5th, Shane Stoney starts in 6th, the first of the non-reverse positions. Then it's Lewis Grant and Guy Johnston, Fee Wallace and Scott McKenzie, Emma Bruce and John Finlayson on row 6. They're followed by Josh Baird and Mikey Falconer, Will Smith, Alan Walker, of course, non-finished the last race, Elaine Marshall and Steph McMurdo, and I'm not sure that Elaine and Steph are going to take the start here. So a slightly smaller grid to finish off the season, but it's been very well supported this year, and we've got to say congratulations to Malcolm McNabb winning the Newcomers in the last race. The gap between himself and Ross Wiley now 35 points, away they go. David Slay leads, Tim Slay, Steve Brewster slots into 4th place, then it's Shane Stoney trying to come up the inside of Brewster. That's going to be good news for Malcolm McNabb. Points then taken away by Shane Stoney. Through goes 15. Ross Wiley with a fair old bit of work to do now in the white and blue 15 after taking his first 2 wins in the championship. Ross Wiley challenging Steve Brewster, so those positions reverse from race 1 still. Shane Stoney ahead of them, but it's Malcolm McNabb heading the pack. There's Lewis Grant in 24, Guy Johnston. Those two have had a super meeting, really having a lot of racing. Fee Wallace down behind them. This is a view from Tim Slay coming under pressure from Shane Stoney. Look how close these cars get as they come out of car loop. Shane Stoney is going to do a little bit of bump drafting here, I think, as they come along the straight. Comes out of the slipstream. How hard's he going to be on the brake down into the hairpin? The answer is there isn't room. And Tim Slay, as you can see, taking the tight line, going defensive. Ross Wiley down behind Shane Stoney. Nice shot of Shane's car, lifting a wheel as they climb up through the hairpin, past the FFDR stand, up over the grid lines. In this, the last race of the 2012 season.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new GoRacingTV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Lewis Grant gets squeezed wide by Steve Brewster. Brewster, I think, is going to have the initiative, but Lewis Grant, he's a dogged competitor, hangs on to the outside line briefly, cedes that as they go through the chicane out towards Carlu corner, so it's position lost, and Guy Johnston will try and get in the mix again as they go up through Carlu, but it's still Malcolm McNabb from David Slay and Tim Slay. It's a Team Slay Racing top 3 shutout. Malcolm McNabb, really, you've got to say the only thing that could rob him here is a breakdown. I'm pretty sure that Team Slay would have given him a top-notch car which would have been thoroughly checked over, and all he's got to do now is lead from his 2 teammates and go for what will be his 3rd win of the championship. Here's the view back from Tim Slay at the moment. Shane Stoney a little bit shy of him. Sun shining on the righteous here at Knockhill for our last race of the 2012 season. David Slay, of course, bagging several records this year, including being the first driver to win all 3 races at a meeting. And when you think of the quality of the field, remarkable achievement for him. And breaking the 500 point barrier, 514 points is going to be his total if things stay the way they are. Tim Slay very nearly getting 400. That's almost enough to win the championship in its own right, but he's only 2nd in the table. And Malcolm McNabb here, the race leader, going for 3rd in the table at the moment. So Team Slay Racing shut out the grid, the top 3 on the grid for race 1. They find that they've done it again in the reverse race. Shane Stoney, he's coming up in 4th, and he's going to be the man who wants to come back next year and knock on the knock very loudly on the front door of the championship does, showing the Castleford Hire Centre machine. Up the straight we go, buzzing the pit wall still. McNabb, Slay, Stoney, a little bit of a gap back to Ross Wiley in 5th, then Steve Brewster. I've got to say, this is one of the quietest reverse grid races we've had, and certainly one of the quietest last races of the season we've had. Normally all sparks fly, but there's still issues to be settled, and Malcolm McNabb driving well out front. Fastest lap of the race has gone to Shane Stoney, and not just that, it's the fastest lap of the season, 63.296. He's the second driver to set the fastest lap of the season in this meeting. It was David Slay in race 2, and Ross Wiley's season lap record, if we can call it that, of 72.566 set back in May, has been beaten twice today, once by David Slayer, once by the 4th place car, Shane Stoney, and that really is notice of intent for next year. And Stoney looks to the inside, switches to the outside line, challenging Tim Slay in the red 3. So Shane Stoney keeps it, and for sure Tim Slay a little bit rattled, kicks up some dirt, moves across to the inside. Shane Stoney to the outside of the circuit, keeps an eye on his mirrors because he's got Ross Wiley behind him, and Stoney's through. He's got his nose in front. Shane Stoney up onto the podium potentially. Well, we're keeping our eyes on the field as they come through. Some great scrapping going on right the way down the order, to Will Smith running in 14th position, but it's still Malcolm McNabb from David Slay. The gap between McNabb and Brewster is going to be, if things stay the way they are, about 30 points, so that's pretty good. Here's the view from Tim Slay down into 4th place. Shane Stoney up onto the potential podium, doesn't really take any points away from Malcolm McNabb. It's the yellow car of Steve Brewster and the blue and white car of Ross Wiley that they need to keep away from the podium positions, where they score slightly more points. 25 points for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third. So the Slay brothers at the moment doing their job for the teammate, although Tim Slay, of course, is a matter of pride, wants to beat Shane Stoney, who's up front ahead of him. Shane Stoney didn't grab a win this year, but we can very much expect and perhaps depend on him to take a win next year. Just bounces over the curbs there, keeps tight reins on the car, up across the line. Now comes the 35 car of Josh Baird. John Finlayson just racing him at the moment in 31. Then it's Fiona Wallace. So Josh Baird, remember, 16 years of age, made his debut at the touring car meeting. Was mentored and trained through his ARDS test just a few days before the touring car meeting by Sandy Forrest, and he shared the car at the endurance meeting earlier on this year with Sandy. So they're just 16 years of age coming into racing. What a baptism of fire he's had this year, and off in race number 1, but a good finish in race 2 in 13th place. It looks like he's going to improve on that here, ahead of John Finlayson at the moment, and it's going to be a top 10 for Josh Baird in this one. Fiona Wallace in 17, having a go at John, seeing if she can work out a way through on the inside, but we go back to the front. Malcolm McNabb still there. David Slay edging towards a 50th podium, believe it or not. This would be his 47th podium finish if he can do this, so he'll have to come back next year to try and break 50, and he'll be up there with the likes of Ollie Mortimer and Vic Covey Jr. Into Carloop corner we go. Shane Stoney closing down now on the top 3. So Stoney, having seen Ross Wiley take his first win and indeed his second career win, thinks, I might have a piece of this. So Stoney closing in. We are getting towards the closing stages of the race though, and indeed the season. The Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. What a superb season it's been, especially for Team Slay Racing. David Slay second, ahead of him Malcolm McNabb, but Shane Stoney, the coming man in the formula, is chasing them. Ross Wiley in 5th, still ahead of Steve Brewster as they go on to the last lap of the season. Up across the line now, and Malcolm McNabb surely is going to hang on from here. Shane Stoney closing in. He's got the fastest lap of the season, as we said, but there is McNabb, very smooth, down in towards Scotsman corner for the last time, takes the racing line. His wingman behind him, David Slay, still hanging on to second place. Here comes Shane Stoney. It'll be interesting to see those two in a straight fight next year. I think David Slay, you can see going defensive, allowing Malcolm to get away just a little bit, backing up Shane Stoney as far as possible, but not blocking. He's not weaving. It's good clean stuff from David Slay. Stoney goes to the inside line at Carloop. back out, lights ablaze, just to remind the double champion that he's there. Stoney to the outside line. Is he going to have a dip down the inside? No, he's not, because just nipping across is David Slade, but into the hairpin for the last time. Malcolm McNabb win number 3. David Slade goes wide into the hairpin. Shane Stoney, well, he would have been squeezed off onto the dirt there. He didn't have the line, but up to the flag. It's a 3rd win and 3rd place in the championship. A Team Slade shutout. Malcolm McNabb takes the win. David Slade in 2nd, Shane Stoney in 3rd from Tim Slade, then Ross Wiley, Steve Brewster, Lewis Grant up across the line. There's Guy Johnston finishing in 8th place. Next will be the black car of Josh Baird up into the top 10. Here comes Josh. Crosses the line now. Then John Finlayson, Fiona Wallace and Emma Bruce will confirm those for you in a moment. Fastest lap though, fastest of the season, the first fastest lap that he scored in the championship, that was Shane Stoney. Very much, as we said, notice of intent for next year. But Malcolm McNabb 3rd in the championship, he wins. David Slade 2nd, Stoney 3rd, Tim Slade 4th, Ross Wiley in 5th ahead of Steve Brewster, who wraps up 4th in the table. Lewis Grant 7th from Guy Johnston, then Josh Baird and John Finlayson. Fiona Wallace taking ladies' honours again, this time from Emma Bruce, who is 12th. Mikey Falconer in 13th and Will Smith 14th. Championship table looks like this. David Slade wins on 5.14 with Tim Slade on 3.95. Malcolm McNabb 3rd from Steve Brewster. Ross Wiley 5th and Kyle Reid in 6th position. In the Newcomers Championship, Malcolm McNabb takes the honours, 482 points from Ross Wiley on 4.38. Then Steve Clark 3rd ahead of Chris Reid. Scott McKenzie 5th and Lewis Grant in 6th. The Ladies' Championship looks like this. Elaine Marshall winning the championship on 496 points, but Fiona Wallace closed down on her in the last meeting. She's 2nd on 457. Emma Bruce 3rd on 376. Steph McMurdo in 4th place on 251. And Louise Flitton in 5th on 38.
3rd place, Shane. It could have been a lot more than that. You had Tim Slade to contend with when he was trying to help people out and whatnot, but you were on a real mission.
Yeah, it was got a good start, which helped us out quite a lot. But I had to get past Tim, and then I got stuck behind David and Malcolm. So it was some of the hardest people to pass up here. So it was really pleased, really good drive.
We didn't see you here for the full year. You kind of came in midway through, or I certainly noticed you midway through, and then some really strong results. We haven't quite had the win. Are we going to see you back here for 2013 in the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup?
Yeah, definitely coming back next year. It's a great little great championship. It's probably one of the toughest in the country. So to come up, I'm really definitely going to come back up here. It's a lot of fun and great drivers and great people. So yeah, definitely.
So that brings the 2012 Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup to a close, and what a fantastic year's racing we've had. A really worthy champion in David Slade for the 2nd time. Please join us next year for more exciting action.